There are 3 drivers on the Mickey Thompson Stadium Off-Road Racing Series that won't leave each other alone. Rick Johnson, who drives for Chevrolet, decided at the LA Coliseum last year that Rod Millen, who drives for Toyota, will have to learn to share victory circle with a rookie. This year, Ivan Stewart, who also drives for Toyota, decided that he would retake the main event victories that he had given up in recent months. And he decided to start in the mud at San Diego just a month ago. So now the series comes indoors to the Kingdome in Seattle, and Rod and Rick and Ivan and their Chevys and Toyotas will continue the points battle that has become the closest in the history of Mickey Thompson off-road racing. And we'll bring it all to you next on ESPN. When the sun is out, it is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. The sun's out today. It's located next to the Puget Sound and right in the heart of the Pacific Northwest. Seattle, Washington is also the site of stop number 3 on the Mickey Thompson Stadium Off-Road Racing Series. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Chamberlain. Say hi to my partner, Ralph Shaheen. We're glad you could be with us on ESPN. Ralph, a couple of developing stories here. This is really the first time that these racers and drivers will get the chance to really put the pedal to the metal and see what their machines are made of, because in Anaheim and San Diego, sloppy, wet, muddy courses, they couldn't let it go. But tonight, we're indoors, everything goes.
That's exactly right, Mike. As you take a look at the drivers' point standings, you can see the tremendous battle we have brewing here. Rod Millen in the Toyota, just 1 point separating him and the Chevy driver, Rick Johnson. Should be a tremendous fight to the finish here tonight. Now, take a look at the manufacturer's point standings. There you see Toyota with a 41-point lead over Ford. Ford has got some new things in their suspension. Rob McCachran got the fastest time in qualifying here tonight. We should see that gap close up a little bit here tonight.
You know, Ralph, in my 6 or 7 years of doing this racing series, I have never seen the points so tight at the top. What does that mean? Are the manufacturers really putting all their technology and efforts into this racing?
They really did work hard at it in the winter months. The crews getting on those trucks, trying to come up with some new things to get these cars to work even faster around these racetracks. And I think tonight with this harder surface, we'll finally see who's got what to strut here tonight.
They've been waiting a long time to let it go. And in Seattle, it's a city that they're going to finally, as Ralph said, strut their cars and all the racing skills. But there's more than Grand National Sport Truck Racing. You'll also see the Super 1600s, the ATVs, and my favorites, the Ultracross. They fly through the air with the greatest of ease. You're going to love it. So sit back, relax, everybody. Some of the best racing in the world is going to be coming into your living rooms tonight on the Mickey Thompson Stadium Off-Road Racing Series, brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. With that fresh, pure, natural taste, nothing beats a Bud. By Toyota Motorsports, where technology on the fast track is built into every Toyota. And by Havoline Formula 3 motor oil, add more life to your car.
Home plate. At turn 1, the competitors have to choose between the A or B lanes. The longer B lane has more jumps but higher speeds. Although shorter, the A lane, with its very tight corners, will slow the racers down. Face-to-face at turn 3, through the rhythm section to turn 4. A few more bumps and one big jump complete a lap at Seattle.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, enough talk. Let's get to racing in Seattle, Washington. Mike Chamberlain, Ralph Shaheen, and we're just about set for the Grand National Sport Trucks. This is heat race number 1. And you might set up this one for us, Ralph, because on the very front row, Evan Evans, who is a story within himself, sitting next to Danny Thompson, the son of the founder of this entire circuit, Mickey Thompson.
Well, poor Evan Evans is lucky just to be here tonight, Mike. He was hit by a car earlier this week while out running around with his girlfriend, and luckily Evan escaped without injury, and he's just happy to be here, if you know what we're saying there.
All right, it's going to get interesting right off the bat. They're going to make a hard left-hand turn, what would normally be the home plate for the Seattle Mariners, and right away, Ralph, they're going to have to make a quick decision. You're going to go inside or outside, so it's going to get interesting very fast, and we are off and at it. The Grand National Sport Trucks heat race number 1. And Ralph, they split almost identical side by side. Evan Evans has gone from first to last in one turn.
Yeah, he sure has, and a lot of the drivers were telling us earlier they thought the outside lane was going to be the way to go. Let's see. Here we come for the first time, and it looks like the inside lane was the one that worked out. That's Brian Stewart, your leader, as we come around to complete the first lap. But look at Ivan Stewart working his way through the was coming, and look who is right behind that group. It is the Ironman.
And one lap under our belt here. Stewart uses the inside lane, and boy, does this make for an interesting night of racing. A lot of racing psychology going on which lane you use.
We can see Danny Thompson in the Ford has moved himself into a fine second-place effort. As we had a little problem, you can see at the back of the screen, Rob McCaffrey got hung up. He clears himself, and look at the challenge that Danny Thompson puts on here.
Oh,
he
no!
spins Brian
Sideways
Stewart
and gives him a love tap, and Brian Stewart watching the rest of the field out the front windshield right now, and that could have been a big move for this little Dodge racing team.
Unfortunately, the Dodge of Brian Stewart goes around, and now it's the Ford of Danny Thompson out in front, the Rough Riders, and see Evan Evans up on the hydro barrier there.
He is hung up on the hydro right now. Let's see how this one, and we have got fire coming out of the back of Roger Mears' truck, and Thompson takes the lead. We're going to have a full course yellow right now. For one thing, we've got Evan Evans on the hydro barrier. We've got flames coming out the back of Roger Mears' truck, and he gets tapped from behind by Rick Johnson. Oh, and again, right in front of us. This is goofy, folks. I got to tell you, this is downright goofy. We got flames coming out, and Rick Johnson eating those flames right now.
As you can see, Brian Stewart got together with Danny Thompson. Just a little bit of a love tap, but it was right as he went into the air, so he had no control over the truck. He got around on him in midair, and that was it. Brian Stewart goes to the hydro barrier, and that man, Danny Thompson, goes to the front to the heat.
Roger Mears, ladies and gentlemen, has been asked to leave the track because of that fire coming out the back of his pickup truck, and he is not happy. You can see him pounding his steering wheel, and he scooted off this course in a hurry. He's not happy. They put the fire out. I think he felt that, hey, the deed was done. We corrected it. Let's start racing. And look at this. He is not happy at all.
And I got it. You know, Mike, I have a hard time disagreeing with Roger Mears and his frustration. You would think once the fire is out, it looks like all chances of the flames were gone. I think it probably had something to do with the banners that were dragging on the back, too. That was aggravating the situation. And you figure once the fire is out and everything is okay, he should at least be able to start at the back of the pack.
Not only that, but he was running in second place when they told him to take a hike. So 44-year-old Roger Mears out of Bakersfield, California becomes a spectator. All right, the man in the yellow jumpsuit in front of all the racers is Jerry Stansberry. He oversees all the track operations. He's the man that designs and builds the course, and you can hear him revving up. The RPMs at high pitch, and we're off and at it again. Danny Thompson in the lead, Ivan Stewart in second place. Rick Johnson spins in third place, and he's going to drop back to second to last. But right now, Danny Thompson is going to be the man on the point as he'll come eyeball to eyeball with the Ironman Ivan Stewart.
Boy, that was just what Danny Thompson wanted to see, but it gave him a bit of a gap, but he lost it right away because that little Toyota is so fast. And Ivan Stewart really hustled it through the corners. Now he's challenging. He's got that inside line. Once Ivan Stewart got back to the inside here as we set up for the split again. He made up a lot of ground the last time. This time, Mike, he might be able to come out with the lead. That little Toyota works well in that tight section.
There's a nice wide shot to get the feel for how they can split the field and literally go to opposite ends of this indoor arena. Let's see how it comes out. Ivan doing a lot of steady spinning on there. They go nose to nose through the whoop-de-doo, the rhythm section, and Danny Thompson finds the horsepower to pull it out. And look at Ivan right on his tail. This is racing at its best, Ralph.
You know, Mickey Thompson had a dream about this series, and we're seeing it here tonight unfold in real life. This is exactly what they had in mind.
Ivan Stewart spun out, and he's going to have to go the far way out. Rob McCaffrey has moved into second place, and Danny Thompson, it is his race to take it home right now. I tell you, that was a costly mistake by a veteran driver. Ivan Stewart simply spun out in turn number 2. Rod Millen is running in third place, but this could be a very, very big win for Danny Thompson. The white flag is out, 1 lap to go, and the man that lists his age as 30-something is on the point with a chance to drive it all home in heat race number 1.
Well, this is exactly what Danny Thompson wants to see, as we have a problem with Roger Mears Jr.'s truck, and it looks like a problem for Rob McCaffrey as well, as the checkered flag gets set to wave for Danny Thompson. He'll take home the first, whoa, maybe not, as he almost tips it over there. Millen comes along second place, and a nice win for Danny Thompson, his first one of the year, and he says hello to his new associate sponsor for this team, Hamlin in fine fashion.
Way to go, Danny Thompson out of Huntington Beach, California, the winner of heat race number 1. the Grand National Sport Truck. Let's go down to the red-hot pits right now. Mike Galloway there. And, Mike, you've got a lot to talk about. I'm sure Roger MEARS was fuming. He was almost looked like he came to punches with some of the officials back there. Tell us what you know with Roger MEARS.
Well, at this time, Mike, all we know is Roger Jr. came to me a moment ago, said, this isn't a good time to talk to my dad. We're loading up and going home. But as we were waiting to cut away back to you, the MTEG officials are down here in the pits. They're underneath Roger's truck looking at what's on fire. But the last word I had, Mike, is the MEARSes are going home for this evening. They're through. If there's anything different, I'll get back to you.
Okay, because the word we got from the people here was that once you are assisted on the racetrack, you must leave. And Roger didn't leave. He came back. So that was violation number 2. So we're kind of in a standby situation. You're looking down on the Budweiser crew and the cars, and the MEARS people could well be on their way up I-5 and heading back home to Bakersfield. Seattle is the one stop on the Mickey Thompson circuit that is indoors, under the roof of the Dome. Mike Galloway has another reason that the Kingdome is unique. Mike?
The thing I love about these Mickey Thompson events is covering all the action in the pits. You know, the pits, a lot of times, are more exciting than the races themselves. Come on, I'll show you. The pits are just over this hill, and you're going to see the trucks. You'll see all the action. You're going to love this, all the pit action, the trucks and everything. And I'm on the wrong side of the building. Come on. It's just over here. I know good and well that they told me that the pits were in this area right in here, but no, it can't be that way. It's got to be back this way. Excuse me. I'm with the television crew, and I'm supposed to report in the pits, but I can't find them. Where are they located? Seattle. I should have known. They're inside. Come on. Thanks. In the Kingdome, the pits are inside. The crowd gets to watch the madness that happens off the track as the crews get the vehicles ready for the next heat. And the drivers, they can watch how the other classes are handling the dirt track. At a Seattle Mariners game, this might not be the best seat in the house. This might be a cheap seat. But here at a Mickey Thompson Off-Road, believe me, this is the best seat in the house.
All right, this is the American Custom Racing Wheel Sport Utility Heat Race number 1. And we've got some hard hitters in this one. T.J. Clark, a guy that's making his name quickly known on the Mickey Thompson Tour. He's out of Chandler, Arizona, and sits on the front row. Any thoughts, Ralph, before we get going?
Well, T.J. showed that he can win on the dirt last week or in the last round at San Diego, and you got to figure that adrenaline's going with him, so he'll be fired up as we get underway here.
All right, this was a class that was initiated back in 1985, and it's here to stay. And you're seeing like Jeep Cherokees, Nissan Pathfinders, Toyota 4Runners. They're all represented here today as they go inside and outside. Choose your A lane, choose your B lane, but choose a lane and get to racing.
Well, Larry Knoll used that inside line to move up through the field. He started on the second row and has been able to work himself right up behind T.J. Clark. Now you're watching Larry Knoll inside, and you can see from the bumper cam what he sees as he looks at the backside of T.J. Clark. And look at him work from the inside of that cockpit. It's amazing all the stuff they have to do.
Oh, they've got a brake by hand, they've got a shift, they've got a clutch, they've got a brake, and it's unbelievable. It's like conducting an orchestra inside the cockpit of one of these sport utility cars. And Larry Knoll, born in Phoenix, now lives in Danville, California, and is running in second place right now. But it is T.J. Clark out of Chandler, Arizona, the guy that's on the point and set the pace early on in this one.
There you see T.J. running down that backstretch section. There's actually more jumps on that portion of the racetrack. However, there's a higher speed back there, so it allows the competitor to get around there a little bit quicker. Those big jumps are not as tough as the tight corners are on the inside A line.
And then as you come out of the A and B lanes, you hit the whoop-de-doos or the rhythm section, and you'll do a bunch of triple jumps and get tossed all around. But T.J. Clark continues to lead the way here.
Whoa, there goes Larry Knoll. He's going to try that inside line once again. And Knoll is a two-time champion in this series, and his biggest problem right now might be Tommy Croft, his teammate, who's chasing him from behind. Croft went the other way. He went with T.J. Clark. Let's see what happens as they come back out onto this whoop-de-doo section.
T.J. Clark, kind of an interesting story. He is a racing instructor at the Bob Bogdaron School of High Performance Racing in Phoenix, Arizona. So here's a guy during the week teaches people how to race, and on the weekends, races. So heat race number 1. And as they always do, they split left and right, A and B lanes.
Yep, Noel's going to try it once more on that inside line, and it hasn't been that bad for him. TJ getting around on the top half, and it looks like Noel's getting a bit of an advantage this time, Mike.
They're going to go nose to nose, and look at this. Larry Noel has about a quarter of a length car lead right now, but would you look at TJ step in, and Larry says, back off, I'm going to take it. Checkered flag, Larry Noel. Heat race number 1. Look at inside. You're looking at the jubilation of a racer that wins the heat race in Seattle. If you would, make a note of our next telecast of the Mickey Thompson Stadium Off-Road Racing Series, Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. That's on Tuesday, May 25th. And would you please check your local listings to join us here on ESPN. These are sassy little machines online right now. Super tuned, 360cc two-stroke motors. We call them the Stadium Super Lights. And we got some hard hitters here. Jimmie Johnson, a young man, 17 years of age, that's got to have the smile the size of Texas on his face. He is the reigning champion, the youngest to ever win it last year at 17 years of age. And we're off on that.
Jimmie currently sits 10th in the points in this division and would like to move himself further up. You can see he chose that outside lane as he's sporting new colors in that Nature's Recipe team, running the magenta color scheme here tonight, and he's going to slip back behind Sean Finley and hold. Oh, and Jimmie Johnson, look at that!
Unbelievable! Unbelievable! He does a complete flip, lands on 4, and continues on in second place. Ralph, I've seen it all, brother.
That is it. That is absolutely one of the greatest things we've ever seen happen in this series.
Oh, my goodness sakes. But there's your leader. That is Sean Finley out of Lake Elsinore, California. Oh, I can't get over that. I simply can't get over it.
We saw Rob McCachran once roll over and keep going, but I've never seen anybody go end over end and keep going. Unbelievable.
And maintain second place, although be it, Sean Finley has a very healthy lead right now over Jimmie Johnson. And there's your race for second and third place. That magenta color is Jimmie Johnson, the guy that did, it was almost like it was rehearsed. Oh, no! He spins out in the corner.
But he's going to get him back, Mike.
Unbelievable.
That's Joe Price on number 5, who's now up into second place. But boy, is Jimmie Johnson putting on an exhibition.
Let me tell you about number 5. What a great story he is. Joe Price. In 1981, a motorcycle accident left his legs paralyzed. He is paralyzed from the waist down and races by the use of hand controls, accelerates and brakes with the use of hand controls. And he's in that number 5 car, Joe Price. And he is no youngster, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, Jimmie Johnson is just doing a tremendous job for such a youngster. He's taking all the excitement of poor Sean Finley, who's running up front all by himself. There you see Sean right there having a smooth ride up front as he works his way past some of the slower traffic. And then it's a look back as we see the number 98. That's one of the slower cars that Finley just went around to try and catch up with Finley going down through the inside A lane. And he's just having a nice smooth run up front.
Well, I'll tell you what, he could almost coast home from now. There is your race for second and third place. Joe Price and Jimmie Johnson. And this may be the race on the course because right now Finley is simply running away with it. And there's your good race for second place.
Boy, Jimmie Johnson has got things flying all over that race car. You can see parts flapping in the air. He's got tires going in every direction, but straight, he's really giving that car a run. And the Nature's Recipe guys, that poor car's probably going to be happy when this one's over.
But you've got to tip your hat to Joe Price, a paraplegic, paralyzed from the waist down. All of the controls are with his hands, and that's inside again with Jimmie Johnson. He is running in third place, trying to chase down that number 5 Superlight. White flag comes out for Finley. We have 1 lap remaining.
Sean Finley actually sat out 1992 and is getting back. Oh, and there's Jimmie Johnson making the challenge for the lead, Mike. Oh, and Price tries to dive back.
He gets it back.
Right on him.
Oh, this is phenomenal racing by the 47-year-old out of Covina, California, Joe Price. Maybe one of the biggest races. I believe he has won in the past, but the way he is winning this race, holding off the reigning champion. Let's say hello to the winner right there. That is Sean Finley. But let's bring these guys home. Joe Price and Jimmie Johnson. Bring them on home, Ralph.
Here they come up that last corner. Johnson's got a good run, and I don't think he got it. Price got him by just a no. So Joe Price takes second. Jimmie Johnson's got to settle for third. But boy, did he make some fans here tonight.
Great stories unfolding everywhere tonight in Seattle.
Well, here's how you get on ESPN's Plays of the Week. Take a look at number 1, Jimmie Johnson. Up. Nose down. And over.
Just like it went to rehearsal.
That was absolutely beautiful.
Let's take a look back to the use of highlights on the four-wheel ATVs, heat race number 2. We had a horrible crash that saw Donovan Holland actually carried off in the stretcher. That's him in the lead. Plants the nose a little heavy, comes down tail heavy, and then he goes tail over tea kettle. This sets off a chain reaction collision.
It sure did. He ended up collecting 2 other riders. You see Chris Berger right there, just can't get around him. And they'll also pull in Fred Shepard, number 16, into this as well. All 3 of those riders we hear are okay.
And the man that wears plate number 1, the reigning champion from last year, Mark Earhart, a guy that's studying to be a dentist, goes on to get the win in heat race number 2. Let's take a look back at Ultra Cross heat race number 2 through the use of highlights. We'll show you the winner in just a second. The battle for second place got really hot.
It was tremendous. Suzuki mounted Chris Ridgway, the yellow machine, had the position over Craig Canoy on the white Yamaha. Now watch as they come around the corner. Canoy gets a great drive, gets tight on the corner, forces Ridgway off the line and takes the position. He held on to that to claim second place. Up front, though, it was the green machine. Ryan Carlisle did a tremendous job, and the youngster shows himself to the crowd.
And we've got Ryan, I believe, hooked up with us right now. And Ryan, my question to you, a little celebration at the end. Was that acknowledging the crowd that was cheering you on here?
Yeah, you know, the Seattle crowd's really great. They've always been good. I've been good here the last 2 years I've been here. So, you know, you got to give them a little something extra to get the screaming and yelling going, you know. So when I come back next time or when I come back to Maine, they'll be rooting for me, not everybody else.
These are the anxious moments for these drivers as they bring the Grand National Sport Trucks to the line in heat race number 2. We're just about set to go. And the story of Roger MEARS is still a little bit disheartening, I think, to a lot of people.
Yeah, the report out of the pits from Mike Galloway. There you see Roger MEARS Sr. sitting on the front row, which you would actually think would be an advantage. That is where they set him. That is a penalty. If he had started in the back, he would have been able to earn passing points. He will not be able to get the maximum amount of points here tonight if he wins this heat. He will, however, lead the start.
All right, these piston-pumping, powerful pickup trucks are working it over right now at the Seattle Kingdome. Let's watch Roger MEARS. You know he's still a little bit hot under the collar as he brings that Budweiser truck into the corner, and he gets a little bit of a love tap on the side, throws a ton of dirt behind him. We got Budweiser trucks running in first and second place right now.
That's his son, Roger MEARS Jr., who sits in second place, and holding on to third is Brian Stewart. Fourth is Rick Johnson, and look at how those Budweiser Conoco trucks are really taking flight here. Down the backside, Rick Johnson will go with them. Brian Stewart will take Ivan Stewart, his father, with him. So we got the father-son battle going on right now. They'll go to the inside. Now here's the MEARS gang working their way into the rhythm section, and Rick Johnson now really starts to move through the field. RJ challenges Brian Stewart for third as we come onto the home straightaway.
All in all, Ralph, we have got a super start underway here. All the cars very competitive, nobody really lagging behind as 44-year-old Roger MEARS continues to lead the way, and they split the lanes once again.
Now RJ, Rick Johnson in the Chevy truck, hesitated for a second. He thought he was going to go to the inside with Brian Stewart, but then he got back on the throttle and went to the outside. Let's see how much ground he makes back up, though. And he's able to come right back into with Brian Stewart, so he didn't really lose too much time. In fact, he's going to maybe take over third. Yes, he is. Brian Stewart spinning in the last corners. We watched Roger MEARS Sr. hold on to the lead.
So Rick moves officially into third place right now as Roger MEARS, 44 years of age, out of Bakersfield, California. His brother, you well know him, Rick MEARS, the IndyCar driver. But it's Roger on the point and in control. Stop number 3 of the Mickey Thompson Off-Road Series. Tonight, we come to you from the Kingdome in Seattle. Mike Chamberlain, Ralph Shaheen, Mike Galloway, so glad you can be with us. These trucks are capable of speeds of up to 125 miles an hour. They will not reach it here tonight, but they don't come cheap. They can run you up to $200,000 with one of these trucks online.
That's the battle for second and third that we just watched split. That was Roger Mears Jr. in the 6 and Rick Johnson in the Chevy truck. Their senior, he's out in front, and he's running just the way he was in that first heat, and that's what really frustrated him. He knew he had a very strong truck here tonight, and although he's out front, as we see that battle for second, and what a good one it is, Mike.
Rick Johnson has taken second place away. I'll take it back. Roger Mears Jr. steps in and takes it right back from Rick Johnson. This is tremendous racing. Grand National Sport Truck Racing at its finest.
If it stays like this battle for second is really going to be determined on who gets the best drive on that last lap. Rick Johnson and Roger Mears Jr. really are running two evenly matched trucks here right now. And it's going to come down to who gets the best drive on the last corner with these two.
And once again, Johnson steps in, but this is where Mears makes that nice little inside move and then punches it down the back straightaway. He may get the inside on him. Oh! They are bumping and grinding around the Kingdome. Rick Johnson refuses to give up any dirt and maintains second place. Meanwhile, the leader up front is that number 4 Budweiser truck of Roger Mears Sr., 44 years of age. That is an unbelievable story, and I'll tell you why for a couple of reasons. Started racing stock cars back in 1957. The white flag comes out. His dad bought him his first car at age 5. He's been racing ever since. He's the leader here in Seattle tonight.
Well, Rick Johnson has moved himself solidly into second. Roger Mears Jr. bobbled on that last lap, and that allowed RJ to pull away. And there you see Roger Mears Sr. He is still very solid up front and should be able to bring that Budweiser Conoco truck home for the win here in heat number 2.
He's working the rhythm section, the whoop-de-doos. He took all of that anger that he had vented up inside him and put it to the racing test here, and he walks away with the win in heat race number 2. Rick Johnson will finish second in the Chevy Thunder truck. Roger Mears Jr. will finish third. Great racing, folks, from the Kingdome.
Well, this was the battle for second place, and it was a tremendous fight. Rick Johnson in the white Chevy truck, and at the top of your screen, you'll see the number 6 Budweiser Conoco machine of Roger Mears Jr. Look at this fight. No need to explain a whole lot outside of the fact that Rick Johnson got a great drive off the corner. They came together, bump, swap, paint, everything you could do. RJ got the advantage. He held on for second place.
Mickey Thompson Stadium Off-Road Racing, Phoenix Sun Devil Stadium, Saturday night, May 1st. Tickets at Dillard's or ASU box office.
Show you a highlight or two from the Super 1600 heat race number 1. It really came down to Gary Gall. He'll be in number 5, and Jerry Welchel wearing the number 1 plate.
Jerry Welchel made a statement that he is the best driver in this field, and in order to prove that, you got to win. And he chased him all the way around, kept challenging. Here was the last lap. They came face-to-face one last time, and you can see Welchel was just a little bit behind, but look at how that car accelerates enough. He gets the lead right where he needed it on the last corner. Checkered flag was waiting, and Jerry Welchel backed up his statement.
You got a spare $60,000 laying around wanting to get into racing. You might want to think about the Super 1600s. This is the main event. They've qualified to get here, and we got an interesting story on row number 2, and Jerry Welchel. There he is with the number 1 plate.
Well, there was never a rule as to how wide you can make the rear end of one of these things. Jerry Welchel's car was 94 5/8 inches wide. All the rest of the machines were 84 inches wide. Welchel, you see the number 1, he won the title last year. Everybody said, hey, that's got to be the way to go. Well, the Mickey Thompson folks said, well, let's just average it out. So they came to Seattle and they said all the cars have to be 87 inches wide. But Jerry Welchel outfought the rules makers. All he did was change his offset. He didn't have to hack up any of that fast chassis of his.
All right, that is Jerry Stansberry, the man that designed and put this course together. All they did was bring in 1 million pounds of dirt. We called it a little chunk of Baja. Super 1600's ready to go. Up in the left-hand corner, Gary Scheimer. He says, gentlemen, not only start your engines, but race them. And we are off and at it.
come down the backstretch as Welchel tucks to the inside, but you see your leader, Bill Goshen, went the long way around, and he's having some troubles. He's going to lose the lead position to Jimmie Nichols, and Jimmie Nichols is going to lose it to the number 5 machine. That is Gary Gall.
We have a traffic jam right in the middle of the rhythm section. But Gary Gall, who did very well in an earlier heat race, is the man on the point. He's going to lead all 13 cars around the Kingdome in the main event.
The wheel, the left front wheel of the Goshen machine has been knocked askew as we see Jerry Welchel now closing in on Gary Gall. Here they come side by side, facing each other at turn number 3. Gall's going to hang on for now.
I tell you, I love this course configuration that they have built for the 93 series, and it is so much fun to watch. Gary Gall in the lead right now out of Fontana, 40 years of age, being chased down by Jerry Welchel from Mission Viejo, California. 2 Southern California racers doing a battle of it here in Seattle tonight.
Well,
look at that.
We mentioned earlier how Welchel has not won a main event yet in 1993, and he desperately wants to do that. He's been making statements all year long that it doesn't matter what they do with the rules, he thinks he's the best driver in the series. And he's trying to prove that point here tonight.
Talk about a guy that knows about winning career main events. He has won, Jerry Welchel we're talking about, 15 career main events in his racing career. Darn near took it away from Gary right there. They climb up, they piggyback, they are fighting it out. This is a good old-fashioned drag race right now down the center of the course.
And right now, both drivers are going the same direction. They're not opting to choose different lanes. They're following the same direction. And now Goshen is going to get in the way there. He's going to cause a problem for Jerry Welchel. We told you Goshen's front wheel is off. He's having trouble steering that machine, and that is going to make all the difference in the world for your leader.
Oh no! Number 9 bashes into Welchel right there. That was Bill Goshen. Did you see that?
He sure did. And poor Jerry Welchel just can't get around Goshen and get rid of him. And that is allowing Gary Gall just to pull away.
Unbelievable. So Gary Gall working that old rhythm section to death.
Boy, Gall is just having an easy time of it now up front. And I bet Jerry Welchel is going to just force his way around Goshen here in a little bit. There you see the number 21 machine. That belongs to Wes Banks. Banks is in second place now. With everything that has happened to Jerry Welchel, Banks has taken over second.
Wes Banks currently is the thing that is separating Welchel from Gary Gall right now. 6 laps to go.
Yeah, here's Gall. You can see him coming right at you. They're coming up the front straightaway. There's Welchel. Welchel, by the way, is going to start mass producing these chassis. If anybody is interested out there in buying one, contact Jerry Welchel. He's looking to sell these to the regular public. He's going to go to the outside, and Banks went to the A lane. Let's see, that might be just the thing that Jerry Welchel needs to close up that gap between himself and second place Wes Banks. They'll come at each other as we look back up to our leader who comes to the start-finish line one more time. And Welchel has made up some ground, but not enough to really challenge. So right now, it's still all Gary Gall.
Yeah, Gary Gall with the number 5, Super 1600. His idol is Richard Petty, and he happens to own a repair shop. So if he has any problems here tonight, he backs up, goes home, just fixes it all in his own shop.
And remember, these drivers have the turning brakes as well, where you have to turn it, push it one way to turn the car in one direction and pull it the other way to lock up the other wheel to turn the machine to the other direction. There's a lot of activity going on inside those cockpits.
Yeah, they work for these victories. There's no question about it. They have to clutch, they have to brake, everything else. Now they're still watching out for all the other guys.
Well, with Gall all by himself out front, there is a split for the 2 drivers who are battling for second now. So Welchel is still doing the best he can. Jerry Welchel.
Oh, what an unbelievable move that was. Wes Banks and Jerry Welchel hook up. Welchel getting the bad end of that deal. There's number 21 Banks.
Boy, poor Jerry Welchel this night for him has gone from bad to worse. Well, here you see him as they come down the front straightaway. Jerry Welchel in the number 1, Wes Banks in the number 21 coming up the front straightaway. Watch the number 1 machine.
He goes right up and over the front wheels, the right side wheels of Banks' machine to the side. That left front wheel curves under. Jerry Welchel ends up on his lid.
Okay, we're down to the final lap and a half here. You're watching the Super 1600s, the buggies of off-road racing. 1,650 rear-mounted CC engines in these things.
And our second place competitor, Wes Banks, just tips it over.
He is following in the footsteps of Jerry Welchel. He's on his lid. He is watching this race upside down.
Yeah, there's the checkered flag at the start-finish line, and the win will be credited to Gary Gall. We'll show you highlighted coverage of our Superlight main event. In the top prospect on the head of the list of every one of the Grand National Truck team owners is this kid right here, Jimmie Johnson. And boy, did he put on a clinic. He just walked away with this one. Craig George held on for second, and Sean Finley was third. And we'll go down and talk to Jimmie Johnson. Well, Jimmy, tell me, how goofy were you after you did that tip over and you kept going?
Yeah, on the heat racer, I went for a good spill, and it left me a little dingy up until I got in the car, and things started coming back to me.
Well, it looks like they came back to you in fine fashion. A fantastic win for you here tonight.
Thanks. It's hard to go wrong with Nature's Recipe backing us 200%. The BF Goodrich tires hooked up the whole way. I mean, just all the sponsors that helped us. I thank you guys a bunch. Here it is.
Yamaha came into the Ultra Cross Series here looking to put that manufacturer's championship on their trophy case. And they got off to a real good start with something they needed to do, and that's get a win in a main event. They did it with Kyle Lewis winning and Jim Hollywood Hawley finishing in second.
We're certainly glad you're watching the Mickey Thompson Stadium Off-Road Racing Series tonight on ESPN. But listen, we may be coming to a town near you. Saturday, May 1st on Devil Stadium, Tempe, Arizona. We head to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena on Saturday, May 8th, and on Saturday, June 26th. Look for us at Rice Stadium at Salt Lake City, Utah. We could go home right now. We've had our money's worth. Some great racing here at the Seattle Kingdome. In heat race number 1, we're talking about the Grand National Sport Trucks. Roger MEARS was the man of the hour, but let's talk about some of the earlier racing.
Well, Brian Stewart started out front, and he got bumped as he came to that jump, and you can see it spun him around. Danny Thompson adds a little insult to injury there with the left half. He goes on to win the race, but look what happens to Roger MEARS Sr. and the Budweiser truck. You can see the flames belching out of the back. They bring the race to a halt, and then he gets banged from behind by Rick Johnson. That started a whole round of controversy back in the pit area.
Yeah, and the only thing that was hotter than that fire belching out the back of his Budweiser truck was Roger himself. He was fuming. It looked like he was going to throw some punches at one point. Then it got confusing. Was he disqualified for the night? As it ends up, I think he was fined, but he was allowed to race, and that sets up heat race number 2.
Yeah, he actually got to start from the front of the row, and that way he didn't get any passing points for working through the back of the field, and he just disappeared, decimated the field, was never challenged. Rick Johnson, you can see him in the white Chevy truck just at the top of your screen. He finished second, but it was all Roger MEARS Sr. in heat 2.
So basically, Ralph, what he did was he channeled all that frustration, all that anger into driving a good heat race in heat race number 2. So now the question is the main event.
Well, Roger MEARS has been strong all night long. Even though he was knocked out of heat number 1, he was one of the trucks to beat there. I think Roger MEARS Sr., he's going to be the guy you got to watch out for in this main event here tonight. All
right. Well, Ralph Shaheen, be a fortune teller. We'll find out as we get ready for the main event of the Grand National Sport Trucks. All right, folks, get ready for the showdown in Seattle. This is the main event, the Grand National Sport Trucks. The reason that a lot of people showed up, 32,000 here tonight. Not too many have left because they stay to watch the big boys off-road stadium race. So let's talk about the front row. There is Danny Thompson. He is the son of the founder of this entire circuit, Mickey Thompson.
The guy who won heat number 1. And you know how he gets in shape for this, Mike? He trains by trails riding on his motocross machine. And you know who his partner is? Danny Ungais, the famous IndyCar and sports car driver. Him and the Flying Hawaiian go out and they go riding every day. And that's how Danny Thompson gets in shape to compete in the Grand National Trucks.
All right, we're just about set to race. Jerry Stansbury says you've got the green light. Mike Chamberlain, Ralph Shaheen, and millions of dollars of machinery hit the line. Danny Thompson, Roger MEARS, split lanes, and there was a lot of bumping and grinding. Ricky Johnson is taken out. He is backwards in the back of the pack.
And he's going to have to turn himself around, and the race is going to go the long way around. Boy, he's going to have a lot of ground to make up.
up, Mike, but there's the battle up front, and your leader is going to be Roger Mears Sr., but he's got Danny Thompson and his teammate Rob McEachran coming after him.
Roger Mears, 44 years of age, started racing stock cars back in 1957, and he's got the lead right now. A couple of Fords trying to give him some trouble in the near lane. What a night this could be for Roger Mears. If you think back to heat race number 1, he was taken out of the race. He was mad. He was furious. Came back to win heat race number 2 and has the lead in the main event.
But these Fords look tough. Look at Danny Thompson come right after him. And there is Rod Millen, the Toyota, sneaking third place away from Rob McEachran. Now remember, those Ford trucks are running those new 9-brake shocks. They're 50 pounds lighter now on the front ends of those trucks. By the time we get to Phoenix, they'll have the same shocks to the rear end of the trucks, and the Fords will be 150 pounds lighter and much more competitive than they are here tonight.
Whoa, Rod Millen doing some slipping and sliding on the far side of that course right there.
Oh, they get together coming out of turn 3, and McEachran bangs with Millen as we see Danny Thompson bounding into the side of Roger Mears Sr.
And Danny Thompson letting Mears know that he is within striking distance right now. They split the lanes one more time. You're watching the Grand National Sport Trucks. Stop number 3 on the Mickey Thompson circuit. Mike Chamberlain, Ralph Shaheen, Mike Calloway. So I'm glad you're joining us tonight on ESPN. Next up, Tempe, Arizona, Sun Devil Stadium.
Well, Roger likes to strut that horsepower down the backstretch, and it really helped him there. It pulled a big gap between him and Danny Thompson that time.
Roger Mears stepped into a race car for the first time ever at age 5, and it was a love at first bite. He bit into the dirt, and he knew that it was for him. He's been racing. He's now 44 years of age, racing over some 30-odd years on the professional level.
As you see Roger Mears working his way through turn number 3, see how the front tires are kind of bowed out? They kind of go away from the truck. The reason why they do that is so that when the truck goes through the corners like that, the tire will roll over to get a better contact patch with the rubber on the dirt. Now you see that tire stands up as he rolls through that corner. He kind of straightens back up. He gets a better drive out of the corner. All the teams will do that. That's how they make these Grand National trucks handle so well in these stadiums.
I'll tell you what, I'm keeping my eye on that number 1 Toyota truck of Rod Millen, the overall series champion from last year. He is actually sitting in great position, has moved ahead in points by a handful here tonight, and he figures into this as he runs in 3rd place right now behind Danny Thompson. Thompson trailing Mears Sr. White flag is out. This is the final lap, and Roger Mears Sr. is not even being challenged at this point. He is flying over the backstretch. He's the far car, the red Budweiser car. There he is. Good tight shot. He'll do a quick little single jump, a hard right-hand turn, and then he will work the rhythm section. They'll take these with a good RPM, maybe double jump him. Watch him as he comes off, and yes, double jumps at a hard left-hand turn, and what a story it is. What a night for Roger Mears. Furious at the beginning of the night. He is a jubilant racer at the end, winning the main event in Seattle, the Kingdome. A big night for Roger Mears.
Watching ESPN, the Total Sports Network.
We couldn't be happier. I'm so happy for my team, the Roger Mears team, and Budweiser, Yokohama, and Bosch. I'll tell you, we couldn't be happier. We really needed this, and we love it.
Hey, Roger, now your truck was strong all night long. Did you find something between San Diego and here? Are we going to see more of this up front?
Yeah, we did, and that's something we're really happy about. We've been doing a lot of tests, and we run 250 laps at our test track between the last race. And really, testing really pays off, obviously. It's running really good.
You want to tell us what the secret was?
Just fine-tuning. I mean, just playing with the shocks and playing with suspension mainly.
Well, congratulations. It was a fine win.
Thank you.
Well, we want to say congratulations, of course, to the Grand National Sport Truck winner, Roger Mears, but also Kyle Lewis won in the Ultra Cross. Gary Gall, an exciting win in the Super 1600. Jimmie Johnson, the guy that says is the future of all this racing tonight in the Super Lights. Mike Olmstead, Tommy Croft, the Tomahawk also won tonight. Congratulations to all of our winners on stop number 3 at the Kingdome in Seattle. Mickey Thompson Stadium Off-Road Racing is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers with that fresh, pure, natural taste. nothing beats a Bud. And by Toyota Motorsports, where technology on a fast track is built into every Toyota. And by Quaker State, the Big Q is one tough motor oil. In-car cameras made possible by our friends at American Racing Custom Wheels and Nature's Recipe Pet Food. Barrier camera complements a Bic CPAC and Rancho suspension. For Mike Galloway, Ralph Shaheen, I'm Mike Chamberlain. This has been a presentation of Bud Sports in association with ESPN. Bye-bye, everybody.